What's going on, good people? What is going on, man? Let me just send this last message real quick as we get the show started, man. I know we don't usually do Sundays, but man, my DMs have been blowing up about last night. It seems like everybody wants to talk about it, so that's definitely what we are going to be doing today, man. We're going to talk about it. I want to get your guys' thoughts on everything, man. Last night was crazy, man. I was trying to watch the fights. And I was trying to watch a show with wifey at the same time, man. I had the computer on one side and I was locked into the show with wifey, man. And before the Garcia fight, I said, man, we got to turn the show off, man. I got to go. But first and foremost, man, hope everybody's having a good day. So far, again, we usually hit the shows on Monday, but man, today just been getting so many different messages about it. It only makes sense that we talk about it in real time right after, man. What's going on, everybody? Pablo, what's going on, my man? Good to see you. Man, what a fight. What a fight. Considering, man, that card was a little underwhelming, man. I thought there was really only two fights on there that I actually got excited for, and that was definitely the last fight and the Jimenez and Ramirez fight, man. Shout out to Jimenez, man. The right person won the fight. The judges were all on the same page on the night. So, oh, man. I actually don't really have a crazy amount of show stuff today, man. I just want to come on here and just see what everybody's saying, see what everybody's thoughts are, and just we're gonna rock out and see what happens, man. Usually I'm a man who prepares a lot better, but again, I got so many different messages that I'm like, man, let's just all talk about it together. A lot of different questions that I have on the phone that I am pulling up right now. Yeah. So first and foremost, man, if anybody thought that the fight was going to go like that, I can't believe you. I can't believe you, because none of us thought the fight was going to go like that, man. Regardless of whoever you had winning, we didn't see it happening like that. So let's keep it pushing. Let's move into it, man. What's going on, home wrecking? Do you see Hamza Shiraz versus Ammo Williams winning on June 1st? I think that's a very good fight, man. I've always said, like, Ammo Williams is a very talented cat. He is sometimes a little hot and sometimes cold. You never know what you're going to get with him sometimes, man. But I think this is going to be a very good fight, and I think a tougher fight than people think. We're going to see, man. I'm not too sure yet on this one, man. This is kind of the one I'm a little up in the air about for me personally. I know a lot of people are leaning Shiraz, but man, I think it just depends what type of Ammo Williams shows up, because that man is tough, man. He could fight. I heard a theory. Ryan wasn't interested in the belts. He planned in advance to miss weight to not get drained. He just wanted the victory. Man, since we're talking about it, we're going to start right there, man. Thanks for that, Pablo. That might not be out of the left field type of things, man, because as we saw how this fight was building up to, man, it was a crazy turn of events. So many different things that Ryan Garcia was talking about. But it also made me think, man, he pulled out of a fight because he was mentally not able to fight. And so it just makes you think, like, yo, were you really mentally not able at the time you were supposed to fight, or were you just not ready in condition and taking training camp seriously to fight? So it makes all of these different things, even the magnitude of it, man. But we're going to talk about the after stuff a little bit after. When we talk about the fight specifically, man, again, for everybody that has taken the time to tune in, again, we usually are dropping, we go on Mondays, but today, man, I felt like everybody wanted to talk about it, man. I have at least like 30 messages in my DM. So I figured let's just talk about it today while it's fresh in our minds. So let's talk about the fight, man. I want to talk about Devin Haney first, because he's been getting a massive amount of slack and everything from it, as biting that he should, because when you talk loud, yo, you gotta live with whatever comes with it. And Devin Haney and Bill Haney, they've been talking a crazy amount, so they got to eat whatever it is that's coming to them. Devin Haney, man, and I've said this before on another channel. They're always talking about this generation of the four kings, right? Devin Haney, Tank, Shakur, and then Ryan Garcia. So they're always talking about those four men. And I've always felt like this, and I've said in previous channels before, I've always felt like what makes Devin Haney so good, yeah, he's very skilled, but the man works hard. I don't think he's the most naturally talented out of those four guys. I think naturally talented, it goes to Ryan Garcia. Least disciplined, it goes to Ryan Garcia. But Devin Haney is a guy who you can tell he practices, he works hard, he's in the gym, all these different things. On this night, man, I wonder if, one, you got to think about the weight, how much that played around with it. But then you also got to think about in the future, when you're thinking about the fight and you have someone who may not be all in boxing like that, and we just want to see great fights, and you're looking at the fights, they're not going to bring up, 10 years from now, you're not going to really say, oh, Garcia was overweight. 10 years from now, you're not going to say, oh, man, they weren't fighting for a belt. All you're going to see and hear is Ryan Garcia beat up on Devin Haney. So while it was unprofessional of Ryan Garcia to come under, to go over 140, it is what it is, right? And it's even funny when you think about it, like, and correct me if I'm wrong in this chat, like Ryan Garcia hasn't fought at 140, like ever. You know what I'm saying? Like he's fought above 140. He's fought catch weight. Like he hasn't actually fought at 140. Like that's kind of crazy when you think about it, man. You know what I'm saying? So going back to Devin Haney, man, first round, man. And this is the excitement of boxing, bro. This is the excitement of boxing is, again, we never know how it's going to go until we see what happens on the night. And we've talked about Devin Haney on this channel enough, and a lot of you guys said the same thing as well too. We know throughout every fight that Devin Haney has fought, there's been a round or two that he kind of goes into this lull and he gets caught with a shot and the shot rocks him. We've seen that in different fights, right? Even when he fought Lomachenko, we've seen guys touch up Devin Haney's chin. But, man, he definitely felt that power in the first round, man. And I was very surprised that he did not go down once he got clipped with that left hand in the first round. So I got to give him some credit for that. And then for holding on and, getting himself back up into not quitting. So that's the thing that I will say before we move forward, man. Devin Haney had all chances to go out and not finish the fight. He had every excuse to stay down, accept defeat, but he chose to rise and to continue fighting. So you have to respect that. The man has his fighting spirit. Now, first round, clearly Ryan Garcia, left hand was money, right? And we know this. I've said it in the breakdown. Garcia has that freakish, reactive, God-given ability, man, where he can just, boom, that hand speed is very quick. And so after Garcia, did his thing in the first round, Devin Haney won the next 4 or 5 rounds, man. And partially because Ryan Garcia wasn't really throwing a whole lot of punches, which is another crazy thing as well, too. Like that was the best footwork, patience of Ryan Garcia that I've seen. And it just makes me think when he said when he fought Tank Davis, he got bored, he got impatient, and that's why he caught me. He definitely learned from that Gervonta Davis fight, and he was taking more risk because he got rocked one time. Devin Haney caught him with the left hand. But when the second knockdown happened, man, I think Devin Haney recovered from the first knockdown, but I don't think he ever really fully recovered from that second one, man. You could see his legs was gone. And if it wasn't for the ref giving him, a generous amount of time to recover, and if it wasn't for the fact that, man, he was leaning as he was falling on Ryan Garcia, it would have been a lot more than 3 knockdowns in that fight. So it was like Garcia really turned things up the first round, and then Devin Haney won the next 3-4 rounds, and then he gets rocked again. So then you have that happening. Yo, the fight was just wild, man. The fight was just wild all across the board. But the interesting thing was, man, the Devin Haney that we're kind of used to seeing, that jab, right? And the movement. I think he was the one that was emotional in this fight, right? I think he was the one that was caught up into the moment, because I'm like, when were you ever this cat trying to go and knock out cats? Like, the man was in the pocket a lot more than we've seen him in the pocket before, and he was lunging forward, trying to land that one shot knockout. I'm like, bro, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? So Devin Haney seemed to be a little bit flustered, and it seemed like his corner didn't really know what really to do. And you could see he wanted to use the jab, but when he got dropped and hit, he didn't do I risk taking the jab and possibly getting clipped, or do I try and land the right shot and keep myself out of danger, right? You don't really just have that right hand, that hand up here, especially if you don't think somebody's coming back. He's a right-handed cat. That right hand was snappy. But man, he did not know how to get out of the position of getting hit with the same shot. He did not make adjustments, something that we're not accustomed to seeing him do. Usually he makes better adjustments than that. Even when he was moving in the ring, man, his feet looked a little bit heavier than usual. It wasn't as fluid. And so, you when you think about the whole entirety of the fight, it just makes you think something happened inside of the ring that they did not think was going to happen, and they didn't plan for it, didn't prepare for it, and didn't have a plan to make adjustments in it, right? And the other thing, too, that I saw Ryan Garcia do a lot in this fight that he probably learned from Tank was he was setting up his shots a lot better and setting good quality traps. I still didn't like the fact he's doing the shoulder roll defense. It's very leaky, but at the same time, man, he made it work. He made it work. Let's go over to Ryan Garcia. It's easy to see who had the more power. It's easy to see who was landing the bigger shots. It's easy to see who was catching the more eye-catching shots. You could make a case that Devin Haney won more rounds, right? But Garcia, when his time was there, he made it count each and every single time. And the crazy part about that was, man, like, he didn't really let his hands go a whole lot, right? He really did not let his hands go a lot in that fight. He was patient, seemed very calculated, still a little bit emotional inside of the ring when Derek James was trying to talk to him, especially in that last round where he was screaming and saying, yeah. And Derek James was like, yo, calm down. This is what we need to do, man. So all in all, man, it was a very interesting fight. And now this changes things so much, man. Let's go over to the comments. DJ, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, bro. He learned from Tank fight and applied it perfectly. I completely agree, man. Ryan, what's going on, man? Man, much love and appreciation, my brother, man. I really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that, bro. Big applause to Ryan. I remember your breakdowns when you always treat boxers with respect. I disrespected Ryan. My bad, man. Look, man. So like, and this is a question that I've been getting a lot too, and maybe we'll touch on that when it's the Q&A section, man. Man, in the respective sport, like personally for me, Ryan Garcia, he's very talented, very skilled. I've said that a whole bunch of times. But outside of the ring, man, I still can't rock with you, man. I think you still trying to decide who you are. I still can't rock with Ryan Garcia outside of the ring, man. You've been talking way too reckless about certain things, especially as a Christian who tries to live his life a certain way. You can't be talking about God and telling people to suck your you-know-what, bro. So, like, I just try and focus everything, man, inside of the ring and to just be locked in the ring and not get too attached on stuff outside of the ring. But definitely a talented man. He would be so much better if he was disciplined. But now it's like, it's going to go even more crazy. Now he's going to tell people, man, you can drink and this and that. It's good. You can smoke and camp and this and that. I'm just not really with that. But, you know, it's hard to tell him anything now because he's won. And he earned the right to say what he wants to say about boxing. Like that's, I saw someone said, I think it was was it Jim? Jim Lampley said, man, he said, this is a bigger upset than Tyson and Buster Douglas. That's what he said. That's what he said. What? Hey, man, what's going on, man? What a fight, man. I didn't see Garcia rock Haney like that. Oh, man. You know, I felt like at some point Haney would get rocked. He kind of always gets, well, with the exception of the Regis Prograis fight. He was on 10 out of 10 there. But at some point, man, when you're fighting someone who kind of similar build to you, kind of young in years as well, too, like the hit was going to happen, but I did not expect it to happen like that, let alone 3-4 times like that. You know, it seemed like Devin Haney found his groove after the second round, man, and then it just went out, and he kept getting hit with the same shot. So imagine if Ryan Garcia would have let his hands go a lot more. Devin Haney would not have made it to 12 rounds. And we got to give him credit for that because he could have taken the easy way out and not get back up. But this is the beauty of it, man. This is what we want to see, right? This is what happens when the best fight the best. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. And this fight was definitely a fight that it was a high risk for Devin Haney, man, a high risk fight. It was a fight where Ryan Garcia had all to gain and not as much to lose. And if Ryan Garcia lost this fight, it puts him in a very, very, very tough position. You have 2 losses now. You know, it just makes it very, very, very tough. But now, dog, everybody's going to want to fight this man. Everybody's going to want to fight this man. I always say Haney has pillow hands. Man, he did not look great. He did not look great. Can you say Garcia is ranked up there as a pound for pound fighter? No, man, I'm not going to say that, but you probably could make a case that he can go up there because if you look at who he beat in Devin Haney, you know, undisputed 135, comes up first fight at 140, gets a belt. So you could make a case that, you know, Ryan Garcia can crack that list. I personally wouldn't say so, but you can make a case that he has because of who he beat and what it looked like. The crazy thing was, man, Haney was up, you know, he won a bunch of rounds, but man, sometimes the fight doesn't tell the tale. But when you look at the person, man, he did not look good at all, man. It was a rough one. He beat one of the best, supposedly. I hear you. Haney had no game plan, man. It definitely seemed like that, man, which is crazy, man. Very, very interesting. Bipolar, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Appreciate you taking the time to tune in. Derek James should win Trainer of the Year after that performance. Man, what DJ did a great job of was keeping Ryan focused and dialed in. I a couple times in the corner, man, you could see Ryan was still trying to go crazy, trying to say, yeah. And he was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this is what you need to do. Stay locked in. So shout out to Derek James, man. He possibly, you know, if he and Frank find a way to beat Tank, hard not to think it's that for him. But man, you know, this has got to feel good for Derek James. Considering what happened between Bud and Spence, right? So gonna be very interesting, man. Jay, man, what's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Mad respect for him, man. You know, that's you know, 100%. What more can you really say? Ryan set him up all night with those straight shots, getting Devin to forget about the left hook, man. And Devin was in there trying to sit down on punches like he was a big puncher like that, man. And, you know, but again, he didn't really fight his fight, man. I was expecting, okay, man, he got clipped. He going to back off a little bit, keep the distance, and get back to fighting his fight. But, man, I don't know, man. Maybe the outside noise was getting to him. Maybe he was hearing people say, man, you know, they be calling me pillow hands and pillow fists. I got to stop this guy. odds were looking crazy on the stoppage win. So he was probably like, yo, it just wasn't his fight, man. And it did not play out well in his favor. I had Ryan stopping Devin in the 10th, and the ref was not having it. Yeah, the ref was not allowing him to hold. Well, the ref made him do a lot, man. But again, man, all hats off to Ryan Garcia, man. What's the ref's name? Something Doc? Is it Harvey Doc? Something like that. Yeah, he was having a hard time. But shout out to Ryan Garcia, man. I always said this fight was closer than people thought. Haney and Shakur got weak chins, but good defense. If you can pierce the armor, game over. That is true. Hey, brother Francisco, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Sorry I'm late. Caught me by surprise. A big surprise last night. Yeah, man. The DMs were going crazy, man. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just talk about it today while it's fresh in everybody's mind. This is why Shakur was running against De Los Santos. Yeah, he did not definitely want to get hit. Don't be a hater. I'm not sure what you're talking about, man. You want to clarify that? We can go back at it. Definitely not. Oh, just think if he properly trained, he would have KO'd Haney inside 5. You can't half train and party. You're professional in and out of the ring. Man, I agree with this, man. And that's the thing with Garcia, right? And stuff like this does not help the cause, but he's that talented where he can get away with it for now, but, I agree. If he would have stayed disciplined and he would have stayed locked in, man, it would have been a shorter night for Devin Haney, man. It would have been a shorter night for Devin Haney. And I've been seeing a lot of this stuff as well, too. Like people saying, man, Devin Haney is shot. Like he's done. Like, nah, man, like he's a young cat. Like there's still a lot of time. And you have to learn from these losses. And he is a guy who seems to be very locked into the boxing and the craft of it and trying to get better. So if he is who he says he is, and if he is who his team believes him to be, then he will learn from this. But man, it kind of like, where does he start now? Right? Because I don't know if he gets that rematch, and if he doesn't get that rematch, you kind of got to build yourself up all over again. Like he still is the champion at 140, right? But now people are like, yo, bro, like we saw you lose, whether it was over the weight or not, like you're not the champion. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see where they go from now. But if I'm Devin Haney, man, look, I'm trying to get back that rematch as quick as possible. But Ryan Garcia doesn't have to honor that rematch. And now he's in a bigger position for what's next for him. So, man, but Brother Lenny, I agree, man. If he would stay disciplined, he would be so much better than he is right now. People need to calm with the Gervonta rematch. Recency bias be crazy. Yeah, I'm not trying to see a rematch with Tank. If you miss the contracted weight, you can't apply to the pound for pound list. I hear that, man. And again, Pablo, you said this as well too, man, and it kind of played out like that. Like it just seems like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, like wasn't coming in to make weight. The man wasn't coming in to make no weight. You know what I'm saying? So, so it just makes things a little bit more interesting, man. And the other thing that came to mind when it came to Ryan Garcia is, with everything that was happening on the outside, right? What it always makes people think about what's real and what's not. So the next time that he says he's having this mental health crisis and he has to pull out of the fight, like nobody's gonna believe you. You know what I'm saying? And so who was it that said the art of deception? Was it George Kambosos? Here's the other thought for me, man. Look, Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia are now two people who are able to function in a great amount of chaos. And that's crazy to me. So to me, it's like going forward with these two, if I don't see some chaos, if I don't see some nonsense going on, I'm liable to think that they're not ready, that fight is not going to go in their favor, right? So his fight was just, it was wild, bro. It was wild, man. And it's crazy because how the buildup to the fight was, this fight played out how kind of crazy how the buildup was. Like it looked exactly like that. You know what I'm saying? It definitely was the fight that really saved the night of boxing in a card that was kind of, you know, not the most exciting. Appreciate that, man. I always try to, man. I always try to. So I appreciate you saying that. It means that I'm doing something right by not being biased, man. Because there's a lot of fighters that I actually like a lot more than some of the guys that I break down, man. Honestly, Chris V, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Devin's habit of dipping to his right hand side to initiate the clinchers got exposed. He did it versus Kambosos, progress like crazy, and Ryan finally picked up on it. I don't understand how Dev didn't adjust. But the thing is, too, man, and this is where coaching comes in it as well, too. Shout out to Derek James because that man seems like he watches a lot of tape, a lot of film, and he's going to put Ryan Garcia in the best position to win. And Devin Haney's corner, sometimes the adjustments that they make usually are good. But in this one, man, I don't know if it just didn't seem like they really knew what to tell Devin, right? Because they didn't make no adjustments. The man was in there fighting by himself. It just didn't look good in so many different parts, man. Is there obvious score from Ryan setting up the hook instead of just throwing it and hoping it lands? That's a great question, Big Steve. That's a great question. What do you guys think in the comments, man, about Big Steve's question right here? For me, I think sometimes it's 50-50, man, honestly. Like, I think sometimes he's calculated, and I think sometimes he's just letting that thing fly. There's a couple times when he let that left hand fly and he missed wide, and Devin just ducked back. And there's another time where he did the same thing. And so I don't know if it was calculated sometimes, and sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, he set that up very nicely. You know, I think it's 50-50 for me, man. Every time Devin dipped, Ryan threw his left hook. That's incredible fight IQ by Ryan. Man, I think it's a mix of him and Derek James, man. I think it's a mix of him and Derek James. And he learned from his fight with Tank. That is what I will say. Like, this version of Ryan Garcia in the ring, right? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Barbosa looked terrible. He did lose the fight. Correction. I agree. I thought McComb outboxed him. That man fought the fight of his life and didn't get the nod. You know how boxing can be, man. But I'm also on the other side of things, bro, where I'm just like, yo, you know, just from my experience in the professional space, man, especially running, like sometimes I had off races. So sometimes, you know, sometimes maybe that was his off night. But yeah, I agree. I don't think he won that fight, man. But, you know, it is what it is. If RG didn't do his antics, I would still pick Devin Haney by UD, but I would have expected Garcia to give him some problems, even hurt Dev. But this was stunning. Was right just trolling? Is he not crazy? And I think that is one of the interesting things about it too, man, is like, again, mental health is a serious thing, man. Like, there are people who go through some serious things. Like, I take that, you know, very serious. Like, as a speaker, right? Look, boxing is what I like to talk about. I do sports commentary, but for those that don't know, like, I'm a motivational speaker. Like, that's how I make the upper echelons of my money. So I talk about the mental health aspect of things. My grandmother passed away and she had signs of dementia. And I saw what that can do, right? So the mental aspect of things, you know, you can't play with that. And he pulled out of the fight one time because he was having a mental breakdown and needed time to get himself right. And so now it's just like, wait, how do we really know? Because one sense you pulled out, this sense, it was a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you was just playing, trying to get inside of his head, trying to sell the fight. So, man, I don't know. He was definitely trolling this time around, and it worked because Devin Haney he looked to be emotional in the fight, man. Was Garcia really drinking and smoking? He seemed to have good energy in the late rounds. Man, I think I absolutely believe that he was drinking, maybe not smoking so much. but because I've been hearing about his drinking for quite some time from people who have been inside of his camps talking about him. But I think part of it too was he didn't really throw a whole, like some rounds it looked like he took off. It looked like he was trying to save his energy or something. Like it looked like he was biding his time, and he knew that he could hurt Dev. So I think, man, he did a great job of calculating his energy and fighting in spurts and bursts, because he did not fight every single round hard. And maybe that was part of the game plan. That seemed to have helped him. The ref did save Dev. Yeah, man, he was. I agree. I agree. They ranked Garcia number 4 at 140. Really? Okay. Okay. Oh man, it also made me think of this right here. Out of all the craziness, did you see the part where where Ryan Garcia and Eddie Hearn were going back and forth? When Ryan Garcia and Eddie Hearn were going back and forth, Ryan Garcia's dad was talking reckless, going crazy, blah 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 blah. And then they were like, "Yo, who do you got? Like, who do you got next?" And Eddie Hearn was like, "Boots." And Garcia's dad was quiet for like 5 seconds. He was like, "Yo, how about Cruz?" So if he wants to fight Boots at 147, and this is the thing too with Ryan Garcia, man, is you never know who they're going to fight, because him and Oscar De La Hoya can never agree on anything. Them boys is on separate ends of the spectrum every time. But what I will say and respect about Ryan Garcia is he's not afraid to go and mix it up with the top guys. So, man, if we see a Boots fight next or moving forward, it could happen, because I think he wants to make those fights, and I think he's willing to make those fights. But I just thought that was interesting, man. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was pretty funny, man. Okay, let me get back to where I was. Every time Ryan Garcia, Barbosa looked terrible. Yes, he did. Let me pick up where I left off. The ref said, "Hey, me can't stay on long." Hey, man, good to see you, man. Good to see you, bro. Appreciate you tapping in, man. Hope your Sunday is going well so far, man. It is raining where I'm at, man. So after a great time at church, man, I'm chilling out, talking to you guys, man. So thank you for tuning in, man. If I don't see you before, have a great rest of your week, my brother, man. Love and appreciation and respect for your support, man. I think Teo K.O. Haney. Yeah, it just depends which Teofimo we get, man. Teo beats Ryan, which should make Teo number 1 at 144. I think it's safe to say that there is not going to be a Devin Haney and Sabriel Matthias fight no more. I don't see that one happening anymore after that. Yeah, man. I hope you do a lot better be having the future, man. Yeah, I'm gonna do that one, man. What a fight. That card is going to be amazing, man. I don't know if I can cover all of that by myself, so I'm gonna have to try to get some help in that regard, man. But that's a great fight. I'm looking forward to that one. Some people, even serious boxing people, are saying Haney was exposed and not as good as we thought. I don't know about that. I think he can come back, but what do you think? Man, I think that Haney is going to be okay, man. I don't, and I think this is probably like the tough part about boxing as well, too, is like we always say we want big fights, but then when the big fights happen and one person loses, no matter how they lose, whether they put forth a great effort or they get washed, they just discredit them and say, "Oh, man, they were not as good as we expected them to be." And I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but I'm not gonna say that, man. I don't like that, man. I got too much respect for fighters, man, and for professional athletes to just say that, man. Sometimes you go in and the man is just better. That happens too. Sometimes you go in and you didn't make the right adjustments, and that happens as well too. Sometimes you go in too overconfident. You took him for granted, and you got to bite that. But to say after one loss that a fighter is out and they're never going to be back, man, I don't believe in that, because there are great fighters, Hall of Fame fighters that have losses on their resume. and ended up turning things around and having a great rest of their career. Devin Haney is what, 25? Garcia is what, 25, 26? They're going to have much more great fights, man. And this is good. This is good, but I'm going to go on the other side, man. I think Devin Haney is going to be fine. They're going to have to make some adjustments. You're going to have to do some things. You got to make sure that his team right now need to love on him from support, right? Don't even talk about the fight for a week. Chill out. Make sure that that man is mentally up here and he's okay up here, because that's going to be the biggest thing that helps him rebound from this loss, man. He needs to make sure that he is not discouraged and defeated up here where he can't get back into the gym. And I think he works hard, so I think he's going to be okay. But now you got to start all over again, man, and build yourself back up. Shoot, Garcia did it, right? Akeem, I don't see Tank wanting that smoke anymore anytime soon. Man, you know, Tank is not going to fight anybody at 140 anymore. Maybe if it makes sense, but, you know, he's not going to go that high, man. And the other question, too, thanks for this question, because it reminded me, man, I want to get you guys' thoughts. How much do you think Ryan Garcia weighed? Like on the night, what do you think he came in at? And what do you think Devin Haney came in at? Honestly, man, if I was... Devin Haney is always a person who respects the sport of boxing, who's never going to cheat the sport of boxing. But I think on this night, man, it did not work in his favor. And there's nothing, is what it is. He's going to honor it. But Garcia didn't honor it. And he came into the ring. He looked big, man. He looked big. He looked definitely like he was in the 160s to me. And Devin looked like the one who was in 150s to me. So how much do you think each fighter weighed on the night, man? I was really curious about that one. What do you guys think? Pablo, man, I appreciate that generosity, man. Love and appreciation, bro. That really does mean a lot, man. Thank you for that, man. You know, it's always love and appreciation, man. Thank you again for that, my man. I really appreciate your generosity, man. Quote from Teddy Atlas. Okay. Making weight for Haney drained him, and not making it for Garcia helped him. And the craziness leading up hurt Haney because they looked past Ryan thinking it would be easy. And to add to that, Brother Francisco, I saw the post-fight interview where Devin Haney said, now I'm going to paraphrase, but correct me if you guys saw it as well too, where he said, man, like, I wasn't expecting that, or I looked past it. Something like he was talking as if like he didn't prepare fully to it. You know what I'm saying? So there seems to be some truth in that. Maybe he was already looking ahead and got himself stuck in a position that he didn't know how to get out of, and got to take it on the chin. I've made $5K cash money since the Fundora upset Ryan. Ours were crazy this fight. Plus 5,000 for Devin to be knocked down twice. Made an easy 2K last night. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. That's a nice little payday for you. Do you have any early predictions on the 5 versus 5 coming up? Man, I think if I had to say, the one that really comes to mind is Zhang and Deontay Wilder. And if you've seen me on this channel before, man, I've kind of, I've been Deontay Wilder. I don't think Deontay is going to win this one, man. I don't think he's going to win this one. I'm also up in the air about Hamza Shiraz and Ammo Williams, because, I know all the great things about Shiraz from what a lot of people are saying, and he did have a spectacular performance in his last fight. But Ammo Williams is one of those cats where he's rugged, he's tough, and you just never know what he's going to look like on the night, though. He could be magnificent and great, or he could look a little bit shaky, man. So that's where my thoughts are right now. I think Ford is going to. I like Ford over Ball, but yeah. So those are just my quick thoughts on it, man. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well too. The only thing I dislike was all Boxing Channel praising Haney and writing off Ryan Garcia. Man, that's one of the things that when I started this channel, man, I always wanted to come into every breakdown and not give a biased approach, man. I don't have a narrative. At least I try not to. I know a bunch of fighters, and I've broken down a bunch of those fighters that I've known, and I've actually went against them. And so for me, you cannot rule out that either guy can win the fight. It's boxing, man. Anything can happen. Anything can happen on the night. One punch changes the situation. But what I will say is, man, I always tell my siblings this all the time. And when I go in to speak, I said, you always have to look at the history of a person so you can get an understanding of who they are. And so I think more times than not, if they're being, unbiased about it, and they're not saying, you got to make a point for why you think either guy is going to win, rather than just saying, man, Haney's just so much greater or Ryan just so much greater, So the history of Devin Haney spoke louder than Ryan Garcia, in my opinion. So Ryan Garcia has known to be a one-trick pony. He's got the left, even though I think he has a nice right hand. That one-trick pony was connecting every time he kind of threw it. And on this night, man, that one-trick pony took him for a hell of a ride. So I understand definitely what you're saying, man. Haney needs to eat plantain. Hey, man, I just bought some of those at the crib as well, too. The next chapter for Haney will be a taxi driver, man. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from here and what changes they make in their own camp, man. Haney can get referral to a psychiatrist from Broner. Oh, man. Speaking of AB, man, him and Blair Cobbs, was that fight announced? Like, I saw it, but I've heard nothing about it. I'm like, the last time I saw Adrian Broner, my man looked like he had been drinking for like 3 months back to back, eating burgers. He did not look in shape, man. But shout out to AB, man. Chris, what's going on, man? All love, man. Oh, man. Are they winning? Shout out to Liverpool, man. Shout out to Liverpool. Majority of us proven wrong. Fair play to him, deserves credit, but kind of tainted with him missing the weight. So would like a rematch with both at the same weight. Absolutely, absolutely, man. But, as I was saying at the beginning, man, I would love to see the rematch. I hope it happens. It may not. But I think like 10 years from now, people aren't going to remember who was overweight or who had the belt. They're just going to remember, Ryan Garcia won the fight. But I would love to see it. Haney, the new abnormal pillow guy, man. But having said that, Garcia made Haney look poor, man. He definitely didn't make him look good. Haney used to be the bigger fighter over the ring, but it didn't happen last night. 1,000%. Haney identifies as Hug. Oh man, relentless. I'm a Tank fan. I'm from Baltimore. Shout out to Mr. Alan Curry, man. Be more in the house. I really think Devin is a great fighter, and I do not see him fighting Tank like that. It was just a lesson learned. This is boxing. One thing can happen, and I can say he kept fighting. Absolutely. This is something that I agree on, man. And as Brother Francisco asked, man, I don't think Devin Haney is done, man. This is just, it wasn't his night. From the interviews, from the post stuff, he may have been looking past Ryan Garcia. And maybe that's maybe that's what Garcia wanted, man. Let me just go and talk reckless and talk crazy so it throws him off and making think that I'm not taking the fight seriously, But as Pablo said, man, it didn't seem like, bro, let's rewind it back, man. The weigh-in. The man came into the weigh-in with a beer in his hand and chugged it as he was on the scale. And so when my brother Pablo said, man, I heard this theory that, Ryan Garcia wasn't even come in to make weight at all. That theory is the truth, man. You don't come in and chug a beer, bro. And when you're on the scale, so he was never going to come in at that weight. And it definitely played out the way how it played out. But I agree, man. I don't think that Devin Haney is finished. His ego is going to be shot. His pride is going to be shot, but he cannot let that defer him and make him, go down a downward spiral, man. You're going to have to pick yourself up, bro. Like, it's going to be tough, but man, still a guy that takes the craft seriously, and he's still young. Joking aside, the referee and the judge who claim some scoreline are totally disgrace to the sport of boxing. You know what it was, man? It was the fact that so the first round was Garcia, and I don't know what the judges think. We never know what the judges think. I always try and put myself in their shoes and try to see it from what they're seeing. So 112. It might sound crazy, but when you think about it, Ryan Garcia won the first round. Devin Haney 1, 2, 3, 4. He lost 5. He got clipped again in the 7th round. Then Garcia got the point deducted because he hit him. So what should have been a 10-8 round is a 9-8 round. Then, Ryan Garcia lost the next couple rounds, basically because didn't let his hands go. He was fighting in spurts. And then he got dropped again in the 11th round, and Devin Haney won the 12th round. So that's where I could see it going 112, because majority of the rounds, Devin Haney was winning those rounds, and Ryan Garcia was landing the bigger, more eye-catching shots, and he scored the knockdown. If he wouldn't have hit Devin Haney and got that point deducted, it wouldn't have been a draw. It would have been a complete Ryan Garcia winning the fight. But if Ryan Garcia would have let his hands go throughout the fight and not even take rounds off, he would have stopped Devin Haney, man. And it does not bring the added notion of, it puts, we got to call it like it is, right? Now, Devin Haney's got a lot to overcome now because, the loss is going to be playing on his mind. Him and his family been talking reckless, so he got to eat all of that. Then you got to fight the notion of people saying he's got pillow fists. Then you got to fight the other notion of, man, your chin is suspect. So that's 2 things that he's going to have to face, and that's going to carry with him moving forward. And he's got to deal with the loss. He's got to deal with everything that comes with it. So it's a lot that he has to overcome before he gets back into the ring. But he will get back into the ring, man. I'm not counting his career out yet. Lots of time. I'm sorry, Barbosa is overrated, man. Man, he was in a rough fight, man. And I don't think anybody was surprised that he got the win. I think, we were surprised. We were surprised, but we shouldn't be surprised because you know how the judging can go, man. So, yeah. I'm not mad at that. I've heard a lot of people say that as well, too. Garcia implied that the rematch would have to be at welter. He said it's not possible for him to come in lower than 143. And at this division, he has never came in at 140 and below. So that makes sense. Barbosa fight decision made me mad, man. Again, I always try to put myself, in their shoes, man, and say, you know what, maybe he had an off night, but I thought that was a clear loss, man. Like there's no, he got to gift that one, man. He got to gift that one. I thought he clearly lost that fight, but what can you do? And this is the other thing too, when we always talk about, boxing and certain things when we break it down, man, is you have to take in play the political side of things. You have to take into play who the favorite is. You have to take into play who could possibly get the nod. It's like Canelo. Bro, Canelo is the favorite, man. And there's the Canelo effect. And I've talked about it against the Munguia fight. Munguia has to stop Canelo. He's not going to win that fight on the scorecards. Canelo was getting dominated by Dimitri Bivol, and they had that fight close, and it was not a close fight. So there's things that come with it, man. There's the paper, there's what happens in the ring, and then there is also the money, the all these different things attached to it, man. Haney's father said that Garcia, what? Bill said that? Garcia's still a fighter now. He is saying that Garcia, a great fighter. Man, Bill said Garcia was a C-level fighter. Man, I don't like. I get trying to sell the fight, but you don't got to say all that. Like, yo, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. And bro, they spot in the amateurs, right? So it's just like, Yeah, that's kind of wild, bro. That's kind of wild to me that he would say that. I don't know, man. Haney getting hurt by Ramirez and Loma plus Garcia. First of all, Damian, good to see you. Appreciate you taking the time to tune in. Haney getting hurt by Ramirez and Loma plus Garcia not getting hurt by Tank tried to told us all everything we need to know. Yeah, man, I hear you, man. But that's the beauty of the sport, man. Is we got to see how it's going to play out inside of the ring, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. Again, appreciate everybody that is on right now. Again, usually we do the show on Mondays, but again, today the DMs were going crazy. I haven't even gotten to the questions that we're about to get to, but you know, usually I'm a lot more prepared for the show. This is not really that same format, man. I'm just getting on here, getting everybody's perspective and opinions, and just to hear what you guys think about the fight, man. Canelo trash. Well, that's one opinion, man. I don't agree with that. Over here in the UK, there's outrage about the Barbosa result, and rightly so. I thought Barbosa would be levels above, but ended up other way around. 1,000%. I agree. I thought McComb won the fight definitively. I thought it was definitively he won that fight. McComb should be rewarded with the big fight next as a fellow Irish guy. That hurt to see. And I think that he will, man. Well, hopefully. I think that he will. Those 3 pounds did slow down Ryan's left hook. I don't know, man. That thing looked pretty snappy to me. Let's go. Let's just go to some more Q&As, man. Man, let me tell you this real quick, man. Let me tell you the story of what this made me remind of. Before I forget about it, man. So this is the mind game sometimes in professional sports as well, too, man. So my last year at the University of Alabama, right? Last year at the University of Alabama, we had Alabama Relays, which is massive home meet in Alabama. And we had so many teams there, all of the really good schools. And so we were running at about like 1 p.m. And I'm a guy, man, I take my training seriously, bro. Like, I make sure I'm eating the right foods. I don't drink. I've never smoked in my life. Like, I take the craft very, very, very seriously. And so we were about to head to the track about like 12 o'clock. So I wake up, I have my oatmeal, right? Doing my thing, getting ready for this meet because I also knew that there were going to be Nike reps at this meet. There were going to be Adidas reps at these meets. So it was a great way how to try to run fast and to get a possible sponsorship because it was my last year in college at the University of Alabama. So 9 o'clock, my roommate was top 10 in the country. We were both top 15 in the country. And my roommate, he says, bro, I'm about to go to Krispy Kreme's and get a half a dozen donuts. I said, you about to do what? You about to go to Krispy Kreme's? Bro, we got to run in a couple hours. What do you mean you going to go to Krispy Kreme's and get half a dozen donuts? And then he had the nerve to ask me, do I want some? I don't want nothing, man. I said, bro, are you sure you want to do that? Like, we have to run. Nike reps are here. Adidas reps are here. Like, this meet matters. And he says, nah, bro, like, I'm good. So he goes to Krispy Kreme's, comes back and waxes off 6 donuts. Hour later, we go to the track, and we're going to the track, and we're warming up, and I'm feeling good. I had a nice warm up, right? All my electrolytes, the body's moving good. And he comes over to me about 50 minutes before we have to get into the car. And he says, bro, I got to use the bathroom, bro. My stomach is rumbling. I'm thinking to myself, bro, I don't care. Like, nobody told you to do that. Nobody told you to eat all these donuts. So the man goes to the bathroom, and he comes back out, does a couple strides. We're in the car room. We're in the blocks. We're getting ready to start. I'm in lane 4. He's in lane 5. We're right next to each other. And I can see in the stands, I see the man wearing the Nike cap. I see beside him the guy wearing the Adidas cap. And I'm like, yo, time for sponsorship money, right? So I'm locked in. So the gun goes off. Boom. And I'm having the start of my life, man. The start of my life. I get to about 60 meters, and my roommate, he's my roommate. He is about 6'2", one of the most gifted and talented individuals I've ever came across. 50 meters down the track is just me. I can't see nobody. Man, we get to 70 meters and I see just his knees just come boom, boom, boom. And he beat me. He beat me. And our coaches are coming and they're screaming like, yo, he ran like 10:01. I ran like 10:14. And they're screaming like, yo, you guys just posted a couple of the fastest times in the country. And I'm there so disgusted, man, so annoyed because I'm like, yo, my man just beat me with half a dozen donuts, Krispy Kreme donuts inside of his stomach, rumbling and shaking. And I'm just like, yo, that is wild. And it made me think of this, man, because Devin Haney takes the craft seriously. And Ryan Garcia is more talented than Devin Haney is. And on this night, the talent outshined the hard work. But I get the pain, man, because that was a humbling feeling for me. That was a humbling feeling for me. Oh, man. Alan, man, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for tuning in, man. Why is Canelo trash, man? I don't know, man. I think a lot of people are very hard on Canelo, and I understand why. But at the same time, I don't understand why at the same time, in my opinion. Michelle Rivera, Luis Alberto Pollo, Elvis Rodriguez will beat Barbosa. I agree. I got nothing to say about that other than I agree. I think that would be a good fight as well, too. Man, let me get to some of these comments, these questions right here I didn't answer from yesterday. Akeem, do you think the weight had anything to do with Ryan Garcia winning the fight? I think we could speculate back and forth and probably get all of the reasons why. I think when you think of it from that perspective, yeah, it's hard not to say that, right? It's hard not to say that. You have to think that does play a role and a toll in the fight. Was it the only thing that stopped Devin Haney from really winning? No, I think there was more to it. But to answer your question, I think that it did play a part because, you know, Ryan Garcia didn't have to drain himself. He didn't have to really cut the weight like that. And who knows what Devin Haney was doing leading up to that fight. You know, even the last 48 hours, what that may look like. Maybe he was in the sauna sucking weight down. Like, who knows? Like, that takes a toll on you. And Ryan Garcia didn't do that, you know? So you have to would think it would play a little something. This person says, Akeem, man, I was on your call a couple weeks ago, and I told you what your record was for your prediction. Here is your updated resume. Shout out to this guy, man. You are now 41-13, 41-11. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Another comment says, Akeem, has any fighter, let me make sure I read this correctly, man. He got this word. Has any fighter had a problem with any of your breakdowns and predictions? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe not, but I feel like I give a fair assessment. I think I give a fair assessment. I'm not lenient one way or the other way. I think I give a fair assessment. So if they do, like, I don't say anything that I would not say it to their face. In fact, some have, when I have relationship with some of these fighters, and I've told them there's been some fights that should have been greatly made. And I've told them, I was like, yo, I don't know if you're ready for him just yet. You might want to take a different approach before you fight him. You know, I'm not saying they hold weight to what I have to say, but I think I'm fair. You know, I don't think I don't talk down to anybody. I think I'm fair. Akeem, what do you have to say about all the haters in the comments? You know, man, you know what I realized about just talking boxing, man, is like, man, like some people take this stuff extremely serious, bro. Like you got a fighter and you're riding for this fighter, and everything is just like, man, if you go against it's like the worst thing that you can do, man. For the most part, man, like the comments is for us, the community, right? So, you know, I let everybody say their piece and what they got to say. There's only been there's a couple dudes in the comments where I'm like, yo, you guys are just just talking reckless and extremely reckless to other people. There's one guy that I actually removed him from the channel, not because he said anything to me, but because there's a young creator. I think he looks like he has to be like maybe 15, 16 years old, and he's trying to build his boxing channel up. And he told this young creator that, yo, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a stupid little kid. And I was just like, yo, bro, we're not going to talk. We're not going to discourage the youths like that, bro. And so he's off. He'll never be commenting on anything. So I don't know, man. It is what it is, man. I don't really let that stuff really bother me. I come here to talk boxing as a conversation. You know, that's why in every video I say, I like this person by so-and-so. It's a conversation, man. I don't really look at it like that, man. Thoughts on Davis Martin card? I haven't fully seen it. All I know is that Benavidez is on that card. Yeah, I haven't really seen it fully just yet, man. Let me get back to you on that. Boxing is a joke. I practice it, but at the spectator level, it is increasingly squeezed with Garcia's pounds and Barbosa's theft. It no longer makes sense to continue watching the sport, in my opinion. Could be removed from casinos and become like WWE. You know, man, you know, it's you know, you just got to take it for what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, nothing is ever going to be perfect, man. Nothing is ever going to be 100% locked in like that, man. I just take it for what it is, man. I think every now and then we get the fights that we want to see. If they don't honor it, you know, like, for example, like all of the stuff that comes with PEDs and drugs and stuff like that. In track and field, you get caught once and you're banned for like 4 years. There was a girl, her name is Blessing Okabaru, you know, always at that world-class level, one of the best sprinters, period. And she and a couple of her team, they got caught because they were bringing PEDs and communicating through like WhatsApp or something. And one person leaked it because they didn't get the money, all these different things. And she got banned for life. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, it's different, man. It's different, but I hear you. I hear you. Let me get to this question here. Akeem, what do you think Ryan Garcia should do next? What do you think Devin Haney should do next? And I posed this question to you guys in the chat as well, too. You know, Ryan Garcia put himself in a great position, man, because I think he actually needed this win, man. So now he is in a position where he goes up to fight somebody else, takes the rematch with Devin Haney, but he's kind of calling the shots, man. Now, I don't know from the business side of what the venue looked like. It looked like there were some seats that were not, it didn't look sold out to me. So I don't know, but it does put him in a position where he can fight anybody he wants to fight now, and they're going to fight him. But when you fight Ryan Garcia, man, you're not like, you got to fight him the whole package, everything on the outside. Devin Haney, man, I think he needs to take some time away for now, man. You know, take some time to really sit with this, learn from this before he gets back into the gym. I think he needs to make sure that he's not mentally discouraged before he gets back into wanting to think about this fight, man. Don't come in and rush the fight back right away. So it's going to be interesting because he still has the belt. And if a mandatory comes, you know, maybe he does take that fight with Sandor Martin now. You know, maybe he does take that fight to build that confidence back up again. But again, it's going to be a long few months for him and Bill Haney, man. Again, man, you know, you whatever you say, whatever you talk, whatever it is that you do, you got to eat it and you got to take it for what it is, man. And so he is going to have to ride this wave and try to outlast this storm that's about to come from him, man. What do you think about Hitchens? Every week there is a robbery. It's incredible. Hitchens, man, he was in a tough fight of his life against Lemos as well, too. And I think it was kind of that same similar thing. He overlooked Lemos as well, too, and he found himself in trouble. So I think a great part of it is like, man, like don't overlook your opponents no more, man. The resume always looks weak sometimes, and you have to look at that. You got to take everything into play. And sometimes they have a great night, and it kind of makes that resume non-existent. So yeah, man, Hitchens, hopefully he gets back into the ring sooner than later, man. Hey, if I'm Hitchens, maybe I'll take that Haney fight. Why not? Bill on, oh man, brother Bill is, I saw a quick video of him where he was talking about the fight, and he says he loves his son and this and that. And I'm like, man, beautiful. Stay there. That's the most important thing right now, man. You got to let them all recover mentally from this, man, because their DMs is going to be full. Everything coming out the woodwork for them. And that's the thing, man. When you talk a big game, when you talk heavy, you got to take it on the chin, bro. And it's going to be a long couple months for them. Alex, appreciate that, man. Thank you for that generosity, man. I appreciate that, man. The ref bet on Haney. I felt like Haney should have got a point taken away as well, too. If Ryan Garcia got a point taken away for hitting Devin Haney on the chin without warning like that, I think Haney should have got a point taken away as well, too, in my opinion. But thank you for that generosity, man. How is Ryan calling shots when he came in overweight? Well, I still think that Haney has more lunging power and power. But at the end of the day, man, when you think about it, for me personally, I always think about it in this sense. And going back to the business of track and field, for me, there are great people in track and field who are not making as much money as they should. And they are faster than certain people. They have more medals and accomplishments than certain people. But they may not command the same amount of money because of the numbers from social media, right? The following and how many people are tuning in and what they're going to create. So even though I think that Ryan Garcia coming in overweight is unprofessional, right? All the stuff that he's done on the outside is unprofessional, and him trying to sell the fight going in a way that I don't agree with. He made people tune into the fight, man. I think more people came in to see what version of Ryan Garcia was going to look like. All right. And he got the win, man. And so I also think Tay as well, too, because I'm with you on this, bro. But I always look at it from the other spectrum as well, too. In about 10 years, man, people aren't going to remember that Garcia came overweight. They're just going to see the fight for what it is. And, Floyd Mayweather always came in and said, the belts, I don't really care about the belts too much. And this is kind of showing as well, too, man. But I'm with you. I'm with you, man. But Ryan Garcia is going to be the one to dictate a whole bunch of things next, man. What weight was Haney on fight night versus Prograis? I'm not even sure, man. That's a great question. I would assume maybe 160 something. He seems to be around 150, 160 from what I've heard. I'm not too sure on what he was in this one, but I thought Garcia was noticeably bigger in this one, man. Yeah, he did. He did. It was a rough night. Do you think Ryan came in as a welterweight? I saw it like that. Man, I thought Ryan looked much bigger than a welterweight, man. Ryan looked 154, 160-ish, somewhere there. He looked noticeably bigger to me. So I would be very interested, and maybe that'll come out a little bit later. I'd be very interested to see what these two men were weight-wise before this fight, man, because, that's going to be the thing as well, too, is what the heck was going on with that. But that man came in the weigh-in chugging a beer as he was stepping on the scale. Wild. Wild. Eric, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Haney woo him bad. Haney whooped him. Are you saying Haney whooped him bad? And are you talking about Haney got whooped bad? Crazy how Devin came off arguably a career best performance to a career worst. Yeah, man. Jeez. You know the beauty of boxing, man. The when you don't have a good performance, it just doesn't. It just hurts because that is what you got to sit with until your next fight. And as an added saying go in sports, you are only remembered for what you look like last. So a lot of people have been saying, man, Devin got to get his get back, man. He got to get back into the ring ASAP. And I just don't agree with that personally. After a loss like this, you need to take some time. You need to make some changes. And you need to make sure, man, that you are right up here, And I thought that Devin Haney fought very emotional, man. And Ryan Garcia was the one fighting much more composed and keeping himself, centered, because I don't know, Devin Haney thought he was a knockout puncher, but man, he was swinging with some shots, and he did catch Ryan good one time. Well, one good time that wobbled him a little bit, but man, he did not fight his fight, and which is very strange because usually he fights his fight. Haney wasn't boxing, man. He was not. He didn't know how to control the ring, man. He just looked like the plan wasn't working, so he was just like, dang, I don't really know what to do. And so I think from the entirety of Devin Haney and his team, man, they dropped the ball on this one. They dropped the ball on this one. And even listening to him after the post interview, man, he said, man, I kind of overlooked him. You can't do that, man. You can't do that. You can't do that. Oh, man. Last couple questions before, we still got to close it out with the quote of the week to get the week off right, man. I appreciate everybody that has taken the time to tune in to share your thoughts and perspective. We will be back next week, Monday on the live. And or maybe we'll go back Sunday. I haven't decided yet, man. It's always good to talk about the fights right away. But we will be back next week at the live. On the live, I also have a couple guests that's going to be coming at some point. Morgan Campbell is going to be coming on the live, trying to figure out which day makes sense. Morgan Campbell, he is a writer for New York Times. He does all of the boxing stuff. He is the commentator. If you've seen Artur Beterbiev fight, then you have probably seen Morgan Campbell's voice. He does the commentary for all Beterbiev's fight, all the Canadian fights. I believe he's going to be on the commentary for Dimitri Bivol and Beterbiev. I could be wrong in that. He'll tell you, but he's been covering boxing for decades on decades. So he'll be joining me on one of the lives. And I'm trying to get Jeff Mayweather. I got to reach out to him. I'm trying to get Jeff Mayweather to come on. I know a lot of people have questions for him. So I'm trying to get a couple people to come on for the weekly lives a little bit more other than just myself for you guys, man. So let me know in the comments or underneath this video, who would you like to see on the live? And I'll do my best to try to make that happen. But we got some good stuff coming on moving forward, man. Let me get these last couple questions before we close out the week with the quote of the week. Another thing, this week is going to be a quieter week on the boxing channel, man. A lot of different things happening this side, traveling a little bit. So won't be as much videos this week, man. But next week, we're going to be back and forward, moving in the regularly scheduled programming. Man, I always try to get at least 4 or 5 videos up as best as I can. There's a couple up. There's a couple already up. But again, this is going to be a lighter week on the channel. Again, to get to this question, it says, Akeem, do you think that Tank would go up to fight Ryan Garcia in the rematch? Man, you know what could happen, man, is we could see that Tank and Garcia fight just because they know how much money that it would make. So the idea of that fight sounds great, but it would be tough to see what weight they would come in at, because Ryan Garcia, he thinks he's the cash cow. He's the money maker, but man, Tank gives knockouts, and Tank's numbers speak for itself. So to answer your question, I'm not expecting to see that fight, but if it does, you can, it makes sense why it would. Person says, Akeem, what do you think about Ryan Garcia versus Sabril Matias, Pitbull Cruz, or Teofimo Lopez? Those are great fights, man. Those are great fights. I would like to see any of those. I'm not going to lie to you. Sabril Matias has a tough matchup against Liam Paro. But we'll see how that goes, man. I don't even know if that fight would happen at 140 because Garcia doesn't seem like he ever wants to fight at 140. He wants to fight above and beyond. So, it's going to be interesting, man. I would love to see, for me personally, I'd love to see Pitbull Cruz and Sabril Matias more than I would like to see. That's what I would say. Give me Matias and Cruz and give me Teofimo and Ryan Garcia. I think the build-up for those fights would be funny, spectacular. I feel, missed one. Hitchens is overrated too. I feel any boxer can be champion, but you got to throw your punches and move around the ring. Absolutely got to have a game plan. Tank murders Debbie. Oh, man, you calling him. Oh, man, you're not even going to call him by his name? Tank murders Debbie if that fight happens. Remember when Bill said Haney got best defense since Floyd? Yeah, well, that ain't true no more. So Haney versus Ryan could have been a movie. Man, you could, yeah. Again, whether you thought Haney was going to win or you thought Garcia was going to win, how it played out, you just didn't think it was going to be like that, man. The beauty of boxing, you just never know. Not real boxing, man. I hear you, Mr. Eric. I hear you. Man, we've been on here hour and 17. We got to close out with the quote of the week. Wait, let me get to two more questions because they keep coming on the DMs. Akeem, I heard you speak. How much do you charge for speaking engagements? I would love to book you for my school. Man, we can talk a little bit about that away from here. But my speaking fee is $5,000, man. $5,000. Akeem, I heard that. How do you notice? How you notice? Akeem, I heard that you grew up in the rough parts of Jamaica. What was the hardest thing about growing up in Jamaica? Wow. Wasn't expecting that question. Yeah, man, I'm Jamaican Canadian. I was born in Jamaica, but I left Jamaica at an early age and I moved to Canada. Yeah, man. Every place has hardships. Every place has tough places to grow up in. The place where I grew up, just to give a perspective, the place where I grew up in Jamaica, 2016, it was the third highest death rate in Jamaica. It had like 100 and something deaths in that area. Yeah, man, I'm someone who I try not to let my circumstances or my environment stop me from having a dream, stop me from believing in certain things and become a reality, man. So yeah, man, I grew up rough, man. I grew up pretty tough, man. I've seen a lot of different things that like no kid should be able to see, or want to even be a part of, man. But it's a part of the journey. It's a part of life, man. That's why I come in and always give thanks and always try to always appreciate life for the smallest things, man. But Jamaica's home through and through, man. It is the place where I'm going to retire back to. Always got love for Jamaica, man. That's the place where I was born, man. And I always got to give love and appreciation for my birth country. But yeah, man. All the touristic places in Jamaica is great, but there's a different side of Jamaica other than the touristic side of things, man. It can be a tough place, a beautiful place, but it can be a tough place. Jamaica is a good holiday. Been there, man. Which place? If you touristic, you probably been to Montego Bay, probably been to Negril, Kingston, Ochiarias. Which place, man? Which place? But man, that's a great question, man. Which makes sense that we close it out with the quote of the week. Again, Thank you for everybody that take the time to tune in, man. Again, I know a little bit of a short notice. Usually we're out, we do Mondays, but man, I appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in with me on a Sunday and talking about what we saw over the weekend, man. This week's quote of the week: sometimes the difference between a dream and a reality is your consistency. Man, this is one of the most beautiful things that I read this week, man. It's consistency, man. Whatever it is that you are consistent at, you tend to get better at. Whatever it is that you consistently believe in, you give thought to that idea, to that dream, that aspirations, man. There's a lot of things in this life that you cannot control. There's a lot of things in life that is out of your hands, but the couple things you can control, not just one, there's a couple things: your effort towards whatever it is, right? Your thoughts towards a specific thing, and your effort and your consistency, right? You can always give 100% effort. You can always give 100% consistency in it. I'm not someone who says you have to be consistent every single day of life, because we all go through things in life. And sometimes you get punched over and over again in life. Those hits hurt. But if you can be consistent 4 days out of the 7, that's a good win. If you can be consistent 5 days out of 7 with whatever it is that you're working towards, like, that's a win. It's kind of like baseball when I think about it, man. This quote makes me think of, in baseball, man, if you're batting if you have an average of 100, man, you're okay, right? If you hit the ball 2 times out of 10 times, you're kind of at that average level. If you hit a baseball 3 out of 10 times, you're above average. You know what I'm saying? So it's just being consistent at one thing every day and continue to build on that, man. So I don't know what it is that you guys are trying to work on this year, or whatever it is that you have in mind, man. I don't believe that nothing is too big. I don't believe that anything is really too out of reach. It may be hard. It may be challenging. It may be difficult. It may be tough to get there. But if you can consistently do one thing and take a step every single day and be consistent at it, you get a little bit closer to it, man. It is not the height of the mountain that really discourages us. It's when we take a step and we look up and we're like, man, that mountain is high. But when we take a step every single day and when we look up a week from the progressive movements that we've made, that mountain looks a little bit closer. Every step matters. Every step is important. So whatever it is that you do this week, whether it's something big or something small, I encourage you to continue to be consistent at it, man. Consistency is one of the things that we can always control. Appreciate each of you, man, for taking the time to tune in. Always love and appreciation for everybody, man. Again, this is one of the things that I wanted to do when I started the channel, man, is to just talk about the sport and to talk about life, because they both go hand in hand, man. We're all in a fight, but how we rise to it, that is in our control. And even though Devin Haney did not have a great night, he did get pieced up. He's got a decision to make, man. If I am who I say that I am, I have to rise from this, pick myself up, and to continue with my career. So that is what he needs to do. And we are all in our own fight, and we need to rise every time that we fall, man. Appreciate each of you, man. Much love and appreciation. Have a great rest of your week. And remember to be consistent this week, man. God bless. Keep the faith. Keep the strength. Stay encouraged. And we'll definitely see you next time.